Hey guys, Harv here, and welcome back to episode 3 of our Bop misadventures. Yes, this is the landing section, which is, depending on how I edit up the driving section, the longest one in this 5-part series. Or this 5-part video, seeing as it's not really serious because it's not an ongoing thing. What are we doing here? Well, we're going to go land on Bop. We have our Bop rover Mark 1 all sorted out, all kitted out, presumably ready to work, but there's one thing I want to add to it, which is very important, I discover later on, and thank the devs for the thing I've been asking for quite a long time. Lights. Landing lights on most ships, or headlights on rovers. So yes, having headlights, we can have them at the front and back, which again turned out to be another good thing. The point being that Bop is very mountainous, and it's very far away from the sun. As a result, it's quite dark, and being able to see this Kraken might actually help. I considered naming the craft Mark II, but then again, we'd only added lights, so I don't think that really constitutes an entire new version of the ship. But we are ready to go, having time warped, as you saw at the start of the video, to get Jool in the correct position, or at least close enough to the correct position. We are ready to begin. And what we're going to do first, just so I can launch in the daytime actually, is get into a circular orbit, and then once we head round the side of the orbit that is opposite to the sun, we can burn prograde and increase our orbital speed and escape Kerbin's gravity. But there we go, lift off, 3 to 1, clear of the tower and all that. Rising rather quickly. This entire... You will see everything if you watch all of this series. You will see pretty much every stage of what happened. And you'll have known, if you'd watched the previous 2 episodes, that yes, this ship was built from scratch, just out of my head, and I took it to Minimus and it worked, and the only thing I've changed now is headlights. So this is the ship's actual second test, not counting the rover itself, just the launch stage and the Interplanetary stage. So because we took it to Minimus to start off with, I don't know how well this Interplanetary stage functions. Those 2 nuclear engines, I don't know how much fuel they're going to have. Never taken it to another planet before. This is literally its first active mission. With Jebediah Kerman at the helm, what could possibly go wrong apart from everything? Getting very close to orbit, I'm settling for a 100-kilometer apoapsis or so. It will end up being a bit higher than that because I would like to get rid of this last pair of asparagus fuel tanks just so that the ship is a bit less unwieldy. So tilting down below the horizon a little, I actually managed to push up our speed and detach, this time without any explosions, which is always nice. We can warp up to the apoapsis and burn again to get into our orbit. Very easy stuff orbiting, very easy indeed. It's only rocket science, come on. I remember, this whole series, I'd like to recap, is based on... The reason it's here in the first place is due to the charity live stream I was a part of, in which we succeeded in raising over $1,260 US, which equates to around 700 British pounds. But yes, we were raising money to send teachers over to Africa. You can still donate if you would like to help the cause. I believe if you go to twitch.tv/xx/goldfishxx, the chip-in widget is still down there. So if you did miss the live stream, despite it being 24 hours long, 26 actually, we did an extra 2 hours, or at least Goldfish did an extra 2 hours because we passed a certain threshold, you can still go and donate. But my point is, this series of videos was because I said if we passed a certain threshold, I would make so many videos in one day. So yeah, here we are. I did have a point before that, but oh well. Burning! I set up our node and I got our interplanetary trajectory plotted and all that. And I'm hoping that this stage, at the moment, I'm hoping this stage will do most of the work. And it does. We do have a remarkable amount of fuel. It certainly will get us out of Kerbin's sphere of influence, I think. If we throttle down just a little so we don't get mad oscillations when we detach. There we go. Nice and smooth, just flinging that away there. And yes, how close are we? I have to say, I do like the ship. It's not aerodynamic in any way, shape or form, but it is certainly rather cool looking with all the rover parts. Oh yeah, you'll notice I kept on decreasing the throttle by hitting X just then. I was thinking, why? What's happening? I don't understand. I was trying to press Alt, and I was pressing X by accident. Which is interesting. Yeah, I was trying to do physics warp. As you can see, we are doing 4 times physics warp now, because nuclear engines plus long distances, yeah, that equals a lot of time spent. I like to think in terms of spaceflight. Mission time equals fuel spent times by something. I need to finish that. But yeah, the more fuel you spend, the lower the time, the less time it takes you to do a mission. But if you're willing to use less fuel, then it'll take you a bit longer. For instance, you could do wacky things with slingshots and stuff that will take a longer mission, but still. There's our encounter, our Jool encounter. Yes, all we have to do now is time warp and get ourselves underway. Yes, now we can kick the video off into 4 times speed, just to try and speed things up. You see, I tried to lower Jool's periapsis as much as possible. Now, going back to the topic of saving fuel, the further away you perform a maneuver to the intended point, so if I wanted to adjust my Jool periapsis, I would try and do it as far away as possible, because I would save more fuel by doing so. Because you have greater influence in the long term just by doing small maneuvers. But the problem with that is that if you are on the opposite side of the sun to your target, you can't change inclination because you'll be on the node, or if you're on the node and your target is on the node, say, yeah, something like that, then you actually try and change inclination and you just end up shifting the inclination around the center of the target, so it actually doesn't change relative to the target. But now that we time warp a bit further out and we get about 100 days from our destination, we do have the ability to change our inclination with great effect. We've raised that down until it says that we're on a collision course, actually, which is pretty damn useful. Warping in, still in 4 times speed in the editor, so we're at 400,000 times speed at the moment. You can see this bit, this is one of the bits that takes the longest, just transferring to Jool. Longest for us, I mean, it takes like over 270 days for Jebediah. All alone in a capsule for 270 days, man. So what's our job now? We need to try and get an encounter with Bop. The problem is, Bop doesn't have an atmosphere, so we can't aerobrake on Bop. And we're going such ludicrous interplanetary speeds that we can't afford to just burn retrograde and attempt to slow down. This means we're going to have to aerobrake somewhere. Now, we could do it on Lathe, because Lathe has an atmosphere. That might have been a good idea if it was in the correct position, but it's easier just to use Jool, because we know Jool doesn't move relative to Bop, so that's absolutely fine. There we go, just trying to set up a node. Now, my idea at this point was, okay, I'll set up a node to get my trajectory almost how I want it, and that'll be all well and good, and then I'll set up another one inside the atmosphere, so I know how close I'll be to correctly aerobraking. So I know if I need to reload, say I've done it wrong, I know how much deeper or higher in the atmosphere I should go. But there we go, just setting up maneuver nodes, doing a bit of orbital ballet at this point. It can be quite frustrating or fun, depending. I mean, if you really like the, hey, rockets blow up and stuff kind of side of the Kerbal space program, then you won't really like having to do orbital ballet. But if you have a mind for 3D plotting and stuff, then you never know, it might be quite fun. But I certainly didn't find it too strenuous. It's a bit methodical. It's almost like doing a Rubik's Cube. It's like if you know set moves, then you can put them together and you know which pieces will move there. So even though you don't know exactly how to find the end solution, if you know certain moves that you know are relevant and you can apply them, then you can muck about a little and eventually come out with a satisfying outcome. Come out with an outcome. Well done, brain. But yes, Yes, we're getting ever closer. Unfortunately, my preview window has again, it's not doing good things. So, I've been commentating blind. I can hear an engine. So I'm presuming we've just done our burn to kick us into Jool's atmosphere to prevent us from being on a collision course. Because, you know, collision courses and Jool's atmosphere, yeah, not particularly great. I mean, we wouldn't actually hit it at full speed. We would just slow down and eventually land very gently and daintily on the surface of Jool and die painfully as we get crushed by the clouds. But here we go, this is our aerobraking. I think I didn't record previous attempts because I always assume aerobraking will take so long. And it usually does. This one only took one attempt, or one previous attempt. This is the second attempt at aerobraking now. First time I actually missed the atmosphere completely. I'd forgotten how tall it was. I had thought it was 200 kilometers high, but no, it turns out it's only like 140 or something. So I went in, raised it down to what, 120 or so, and 20 kilometers of atmosphere, more than enough to slow us down at least halfway. We're going to have to carry on burning with our nuclear engines, but I don't mind that, because A, it gives us more control over our destination, rather than letting aerobraking do all the work and potentially screwing things up. And B, nuclear engines, they're pretty efficient. So there we go. Preview is not lagging anymore, now that we are no longer in 4 times speed. No longer in 4 times speed, we're back to regular old 2 times speed for this. And for the rest of the video. So, yes, burning retrograde, want to get near enough to Bop. The manoeuvre node we have planned isn't actually what I'm aiming for, but, you know, it's almost what we're looking to get. The main bit that's going to stop us from getting an encounter with Bop is actually inclination. So we're going to have to fix that. The problem being that our nodes, our relative nodes, you can see there, the green dots and the dotted lines, they are near the point where we're travelling fastest, meaning we're not going to be so efficient when we try and change our inclination. To fix that, we should do our burn first to get into a lower orbit than it, or higher, depending on which way we want it to catch us up, or us to catch it up. Preview window lagging again. Which is a shame. I know I should render it out so I don't get this, but it's so much easier not to. Okay, so we're coming up upon Bop and doing orbital manoeuvres and all that lark. I can hear engine just burning there, which suggests to me, if memory serves, we are probably burning into that orbit I was just talking about. I certainly hope so, because I'm going to sound like a complete fool if I am utterly wrong. Yeah, was it in the first episode or was it in the second episode? I can't remember. One of the previous parts, I was talking about something completely different at the wrong time because the preview window lagged. But oh well. It's not even lagging at the moment, it's just completely frozen. Oh, there we go. That's a bit better. We're coming upon this node here, and we are going to burn just to drop us down into a bit of a preferable encounter, in fact. There we go, that's all well and good. So start burning. No, actually I want to get rid of that so I actually know how close I'm going to be. That's the problem with maneuver nodes, is that when you have them on, they tell you your predicted separation, even whilst you're burning. So to find out your real separation, like I'm doing now, you actually have to get rid of it before doing your burn, or whilst you're doing your burn. But there we go, bring closer, and the counter. There we go. Right, brilliant. We could adjust it at this point, but as I was saying earlier, further away you are, it's better to do so further away you are, but if you're too far away, you don't get the accuracy and or actual capability to change things, such as inclination. There we go, we can see that Bop is below, or where Bop will be, is below where our trajectory is going to be, so we need to burn south to lower our trajectory down onto Bop. No atmosphere, as I've already stated, so we're going to have to retrograde burn into orbit. At this point, I'm really fearful of the fuel. We're nearly halfway out of our fuel reserves, and slowing down into Bop's orbit does take quite a lot. Its gravity is rather low, very low in fact, so we can't rely on it to bend our trajectory round. We have to do everything ourselves. But coming in, just trying to get it as low as possible, and there we go, inside this sphere of influence. Set up a node. How much delta V does that require? About 500 or so. That's not too bad. 500 delta V, which is change in velocity. So we have to change our velocity by 536 meters per second in order to accomplish that trajectory. That's not too bad. That's in fact only a quarter of what it took us to get out to Jool. So if memory serves, it's about 2 kilometers per second. You have to shift your velocity in order to actually go from Kerbal to Jool, under the best circumstances, of course. But there we go, manoeuvre node pretty much completed, under 10 meters per second away, and yeah, that's fine. We need to tidy it up a little, but that's nothing too much to worry about. So, where are we now? We are just circularizing a little, coming upon our target. Yes, we are nearly there. Very nearly. Man, oh man. So right, what do we want to do? Do we need an equatorial orbit? I don't think so. I think we're actually pretty much fine where we are. I know that the Kraken's in the north at this point. I don't have coordinates, I don't have anything like that. My intention is just to land on the northern hemisphere and look around for it, because hey, Bop is a pretty small moon, right? Oh yeah, and the reason I was orbiting around so quickly was that I was wondering if we would actually be able to illuminate the other side of Bop. I thought just by doing that no, we can't, but yes, the sun does actually move around Bop. Or, the sun revolves around Bop. No, I don't think so. No, Bop in its orbit obviously gets subjected to light from the sun at every different angle. But we've detached from our main command module stage. With its probe power, it will be able to stay there consistently, and we can concentrate on using our landing stage to land where we please. So, it's in the northern hemisphere, which means we're going to have to change our inclination. Point north and get this thing going. LV99 engines, so efficient, so efficient. To change your inclination from an equatorial to a polar orbit, don't burn just north. You actually need to burn halfway between north and retrograde, or south and retrograde depending, because as you tilt your thing, the normal point, so if you're trying to tilt it by 90 degrees, actually moves around, as you'd expect. So it's not going to remain north, because by the time you get to a polar orbit and you're burning north, you are actually going to increase your orbital speed rather than change any inclination. But there we go, now I'm decreasing it, the periapsis into the ground, so I have a landing spot. I thought this looks pretty level. Not that anywhere on Bop really is level, but whatever. We can open up those communicatrons and open up the command legs, because, as I said in the previous episode, they do cause it to jitter around quite a bit. Ah, there's Jool in the background. Man, it's so cool viewing a gas giant from one of its moons. It's so alien, utterly different to anything we will ever experience on Earth. The closest we can have is our moon daintily going around our planet. Yeah, nothing matches that. But yes, we're coming in 4 times speed because, annoyingly, you can't time warp under 24.5 kilometers on Bop. I understand why the decision was made for that to be implemented, because hey, it's pretty mountainous. There are probably mountains that are 24.5 kilometers high or more, but still, in a lot of places that's just unbearably low, because in order to look for the Kraken, I kind of want to get into a really low orbit and just scour the ground before landing. I was intending, at this point, to get into a polar orbit and just go round and wait for Bop to rotate. Then I thought, hang on, what if Bop doesn't rotate? Yeah, that's not a pleasant thought, is it? No. But, oh well, we'll see what happens. So, getting into this orbit, just burning upwards, not going for the landing. Our trajectory shows that, on the map view at least, we aren't going to hit the ground, so that's perfectly fine. Just bring it in 4 times speed. Well, actually, to be truthful, it does clip it. But then again, you know, we've got an apoapsis and everything, so we should be absolutely fine. It's not like we're actually going to hit the ground or anything. Those mountains, despite being up to, what, 24.5 kilometers tall, they can't be that tall, really. Harvey. Ah, you must have guessed what's going to happen by now, viewer. Oh well. I'm like, oh wow, oh I should burn upwards, because, you know, that's a bit worrying, that. Burn upwards, there we go, now trajectory is definitely over, we're definitely not going to hit it now. So just carry on time warping, I'm sure we'll get over that big black mound that is rushing towards us. And look at that! Oh. That That was absolutely brilliant. I just glanced inside, wondering what my altitude was. Saw the radar altimeter clicking down. Ah, man. So funny. So hilarious for me at the time. But oh well. Yeah, and again, it's ticking down. Burn upwards, burn upwards, burn upwards, burn upwards, burn upwards, burn upwards, burn upwards. Yes, there we go. Maybe not. It's so dark. This is why I need headlights, and this is why I'm so glad I remembered to put them on there. Yeah, we could have done with some actual landing lights as well, but oh well. So I decide, screw this place. Come on, I'm not landing in the dark on the side of a massive hill, because this doesn't look flat at all, it does look like a hill. So forget the orbital idea, we're in fact going to try and land back where we were going to originally, or at least nearly where we were going to originally. Originally, it turns out, we were going to land exceptionally close to our destination. And yeah, that sucked that I didn't choose to land back where I said I was going to, but oh well. Yeah, another problem, something I want to change with this design, when I got up this morning, because it is now yesterday, it is now, no, wait, hang on, yeah, whatever. When I got up this morning, I was thinking, I really want to take this rover to the moon and go visit the Neil Armstrong Memorial, because A, you know, I haven't seen it before, I haven't actually gone there with my own eyes, but B, there are things I want to change. The fact that this landing module, once landed and separated, it can't be used as a source of fuel. In fact, it can't be used as anything because there's no probe attached to it or something. In the future, with this rover design, I would like to add A, a probe to that landing section, and B, some method of transferring fuel from it to the rover later on. So maybe a docking port on the side of the rover that I can just drive into the lander and connect and transfer fuel that way. Be pretty good. Make it much easier, certainly. And in fact, the actual lander design isn't perfect, it's kind of temporary, so maybe I'll rejig the entire thing, but that's in the future. And this is in the past. We're coming down for our landing on this reasonably flat surface, I seem to think. There we go. Just bringing it down, burning roughly retrograde or so. Nothing going wrong or utterly wrong yet. And then as I come down, I look around myself and I think, I cannot see anything here. There's actually nothing in the vicinity, is there? Looking around the ground, it's just like, nope, there's actually nothing here. So, okay, screw this landing place. We're going to hop around to a different landing place. That is a benefit, because I don't have to worry about wasting all this lander's fuel, because we're not going to be able to use it for anything good after we use it all. After we land, it's just going to be dead weight. Just sitting there being unused when we could be using it to fly around looking for the Kraken. And eventually, I mean, it was itching in the back of my mind, this would be a lot easier than doing a rover. Those hills look pretty tall, but I thought, no, I've brought a rover all the way out here, I should use it. So yeah, this will be our actual landing spot, if memory serves. There we go, try and put it up as far as possible. And also, it seems, I mean, obviously you can't tell because of gravity, so if you're going down a hill, if what looks like a downward slope on the map view, obviously because you're moving relative to the planet's or to the moon's centre of mass, could turn into an upward slope, but you never know. I decided to go to the very top of the northern hemisphere, or at least near the very top, and land there so that I could survey the surrounding area before deciding which direction to head off in. I wish now I had gone to the very top, actually, but oh well. In fact, actually, going down a slope caused more problems than going up a slope for me, because fuel concern isn't all that large. RCS is still pretty efficient, as we discovered on the moon. Barely used a fraction of it on the moon. But we're bringing this in. We're coming in for our landing. We are so near the end of the video. Just bringing it down. Just bringing it down. And we'll just burn roughly retrograde, trying to slow our vertical velocity more than anything. Although horizontal is still a big concern, Harvey. Luckily those headlights, I've got them on now, actually provide a good marker. When they come together, I know that I'm on the floor! There we go! Landed on Bop. Still jiggling around a little, because of the super low gravity, which is actually rather annoying. I wish we had some sort of anchor system, where there could be a type of landing leg that a pole gets stuck into the ground when you land, so you can't move. It's utterly rigid, fixed to the floor. Because to be honest, we don't really want things blowing away. Say if we land on an atmospheric planet where there's quite a lot of wind, yeah, things will just get carried away if we don't do that. So now it's time to do our driving in the next section. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you liked the video, please do like the video. Thanks again for watching, and I shall see you all next time.